What's up, honey love? What's up, girl? What's up, love, honey love? I see you. What you doing, Red Sonya? What's up, Sonya? Fat Mama Sonya. What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Mayday? Lord Mayday. What's up, boy? What's up, Lord Mayday? What's up, my boy Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? It's my big boy, Doc. What you say?
All right. Welcome back to another episode, another week of Game Dog Talk. Salute to the chat. What's up? How you doing, Mr. Garcia?
I'm doing good, thanks. You?
Real good. Real good.
Good.
Finally get a chance to relax a little bit. Been ripping and running all day. Kick back and relax. What's up, Ram?
Oh man, what's going down with you? You know, scratching through life. Today, bitch tried to get me though at the end of the week this time, but I got something for her. You know, I'm still scratching. I'm gonna win too. You feel me?
Indeed. Look like your camera froze up there, Mr. Garcia.
Did it?
Yeah, it froze up. You might have to come back in. Like leave on, come right back in.
All right.
Yeah, it just froze up on you.
At least it froze up on the cool pole. You know, most motherfuckers be freezing up, looking like they got a booger stuck in their throat or something.
Yeah.
You know, facial transitions be looking crazy.
Yeah. What's up, Miami Snoopy in the building? What it do, man? City Boy Kennels, what's up? Mr. Gumbo, what's happening with it, man? Ezel Henry in the building. Jose Diaz. Fat Farm Ray. Bert, salute to the homie Bert in the building. We got, let's see here. Vernon Stone's in the building. Let's see here. Get down here. Live Life Real, what's happening, bro? The lovely Brown Sugar, Tay Brown in the building. Let's see here. Black Ice up in here. DBK Bulldogs. Let's see. Bank Statement Kennels in the building. Rails Kennel. Debo 89. Brandon Blue. Run them down, Dread, salute. Let's see what we got here. I think I skipped some people. Melvin Brown. Kevin Porter. Let's see here. Dogman. What's that? Dogman RT. Anthony Walker. I mean, my bad, man. Timothy Walker. We got SB Kennels. Got up in here. Melvin Brown. See here. King Strick. What it do? Dan G. CB Sports TV. What's happening with it, man? All right, y'all.
Well, what up, Melvin? What up, Bank? Live Life Real. I see y'all.
What's happening with it? Yeah, Mr. Garcia having a little connection issue right now. He'll be in here. Might be the rain
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, hell yeah. The weather fucking everything up.
Uh-huh. Oh, shit. What you got going, though, Ram?
Oh, man, shit. Fucking head to Home Depot, get some goddamn drywall, shit like that. Goddamn storm to fuck my roof up and my fucking collapse my guest bathroom. I was gonna leave that shit, but my daughter's all scared to go in there and shit. So, you know, me being the super dad that I am, you know, I gotta go put the goddamn construction hat on and fix this shit for him right quick. Well, not right quick, but, you know, luckily I know how to do this shit. And I just gotta pay for the materials.
For sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been just chilling, dog. Fucking tired as hell. Ripping and running. Fucking with these dogs and shit, man. But it's all good, though. It'll be all right. I've been was out there fucking with them all day. It's hot in the bitch out here. It ain't nothing to you, but hot motherfucker for us. Fucking mosquitoes. tearing my ass
What
up, man.
what's the temperature?
Man, it had to be like high 80s or some shit, dog. High
Not a
80s.
high 80.
Yeah, see, that ain't nothing to you. That's the winter time for you. But look,
Yeah.
yeah. But see, the motherfucking my backyard got a lot of trees and shit like that. Man, them fucking mosquitoes was tearing my ass up, dog. I'm talking about just destroying me, man.
Hey man, get you some of that peppermint oil and lavender, man. I'm telling you, that keep that shit off you. You'll be smelling peppery and flowery all day, but you're gonna be bite free like the dogs.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Garcia, we can see you. Can you hear us?
All right. It
Oh,
worked.
yeah.
I had to reboot it or whatever.
Oh, okay. It's all good. All good. All right, let's go ahead and knock down some of these topics from last week that we didn't get to. We got let's see what the first one is. How to best build a dog's back end. Okay. We can start with you, Mr. Garcia. How to best build a dog's back end.
Well, you gotta get them to work where they digging in with their back feet, with their back legs. I did that thing I mentioned before called baiting, where I had my son walk in front of me with a dog, and then I got the dog I'm working with a harness and a lead, so he's pulling and he's digging in. If you use a collar, they're gonna choke themselves, or they can't breathe properly, and they ain't really gonna dig in with their back feet. If you
Right.
can't do that, that's where a slap mill could come in. If it's not that hard of a turning, and the carpet, or not a slap mill, a carpet mill.
Mm-hmm.
They can dig in with their feet a little bit, or you can, a lot of people drag weights now with a
Right.
harness.
Right.
Put some weight on it, and then the surface too matters. If you can use dirt, or grass is better than pavement, or
Right.
sidewalk, and then you could also, if you got a dry riverbed or something, walking them in the sand can help. You just got to make sure you clean their feet out every day after you're done, so that sand don't irritate them afterwards.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. What you
Yeah.
say to that, Ryan?
Shit, I
Build your
I
back end.
totally agree. I totally agree with what Mr. Garcia was saying, especially the harness part. That's the key. You could get the harness that they sell at Walmart or whatever. You really can't use that for a lot of weight, but it's still better than trying to get a dog to pull from his neck, and pull hard. You're gonna choke yourself out. The type of harness I use though is what's called the carding harness. It's not like the traditional weight pull harness where the dog can reach out with his front paws and help propel itself forward while using his back feet. The carding harness kind of restricts his front end movement, and his back end is totally free. So for the weight training part of my conditioning program, that's what I use to build the back end for or put some weight on there a little bit, like 3/4 of whatever the dog body weight is, and just let them pull that. Also do a lot of spring pole work. That's good because it's keeping them up. His back ends is staying in motion along with his neck and shoulders and his jaws. That and the flirt pole, that's always been good to me for building up a good big back end if that's what you're going for, if your dog is lacking that. But I do too. Like I like to what moving forward.
Breaking up a little bit, Ryan. Breaking up a little bit, Ryan. The last part you said. The last part you said. Oh, he's gonna leave and come back in.
Yeah, you can also, what I look for in their stifles. Most people look at the stifles, the inside muscle, the outside muscle, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
see definition and bulk there, right? But what I look for is on the back of the stifle, there that muscle back there kinds of becomes like a knot, almost like a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I look at other people, I look at that on their dogs to see if they actually did anything with their back end, build the back end up. But that's where their power is, And then
Right.
you see the sinews and the muscle over the hip bones. You know, you'll see a little ball on each side, kind of, you know, and then of course the over the kidney area they'll have that same kind of
Right.
kind of an elongated muscle there. But I always try to get that muscle on the back of their stifle to build up. And that's how I could tell their strength was there. You know, besides feeling them pull and stuff like that.
Indeed. AJ in the super chat, appreciate you, man. He says, why would someone working with the American Pitbull Terrier want to dock their pups? I've seen a kennel doing it and wondering your guys' opinion. 100. You talking about docking the tails? You talking about?
That's what I would guess, docking the tail.
Yeah. If you're talking about that, man, I mean, I guess it's a preference for the breeder or seller or whatever. Maybe, I mean, if they're actually American Pitbull Terriers, they might be, band dogs or something like that. Or I don't think I ever seen anybody purposely dock game dog tails, and I don't think I've ever seen it. But if somebody's out there doing it, maybe that's just their selling point, their trademark or something.
Yeah, kind of for aesthetics, the way it looks, and it has a history of having that done. Other breeds too, like Rottweiler or Dobie or something. I do know a one dog guy that did it, and I asked him why, and he said, well, it takes off a quarter pound, and a quarter pound is a quarter pound.
Right.
So, but that's a rarity. Like me, I just leave them however they are, however their tails are, hair, ears, whatever. That's how they come. That's how they are. But it's a personal preference, like you said.
Right.
Could be just people like the way it looks.
Yes, indeed. So we got here. Another question. Now this one is how to build a consistent family of dogs. Breeding techniques to build high performance animals. I guess this is from last week. A guy had a question where he was asking how can he build a consistent family of dogs. Okay, and what breeding techniques could he use to get there? And I think he's talking about like assuming that you have one dog on your yard that's a high performance dog, you know what I mean, and it's a well known dog, your best dog, whatever. How can you develop a yard full of that?
Yeah. Well, the term line breeding is just that the original term, anyways. It's changed since then, but it's just that keen on one dog, and you want to put that dog on both sides of the peds, and he's the focus. Like for instance, the dog could be the sire, on one side of the ped, and then the grandsire or great grandsire on the other side of the ped. And you just put his influence there through him and through his offspring, as you go. When he's gone, you still have his sons and daughters, but he's the influence if you want to key on his traits. Since then, the line breeding term's been used to, as far, like for bloodlines. You want to line breed a certain bloodline. So that's the main influence. You have crosses in there, but the focus is on a particular dog or a particular bloodline, and
Right.
and for me, I like line breeding the best because all the dogs that you produce, they're related. At some point, they start becoming related. Even if you start with outcrossed dogs, once you start breeding the offspring together, they all going to be related in some form or another. Some loose, some tight, some some even inbred.
Right.
There's basically three forms: inbreeding, line breeding, and outcrossing. There's all kinds of scientific names for them, the different ways to do it, but those are the three basic ones. And when you inbreed, you're concentrating the traits on a particular dog or a particular bloodline, a family of dogs, not really a bloodline, but a family of dogs. And outcrossing is to produce hybrid vigor, bring in fresh blood so it doesn't become all, there's a term for it, I forgot. Anyway, real tight, where you start, the bad traits start coming out too much. And there was another thing in there I read, it said, when do you outcross? When do you most people will tell you, you know, when you lose something or you need to add something, you throw a cross in there, and that's true. But for me, if I saw a dog that I liked or I wanted to make an outcross, I would do it even before I started losing something. So that cross is in there already, or I'm making an outcross to produce athletes anyways.
Right.
But you know, when I started, it was you know, I went through a whole bunch of dogs. I ended up with two litter mates that were 3-way crosses and an inbred female. And then I just started, you know, kind of breeding them together, and then I'd breed, you know, aunt to nephew, you know, uncle to niece, cousins, you know, half brother, half sister, like that. And what like I said, what line breeding allows you to do is keep some vigor, keep athleticism, keep, you know, performance and all that. They're all related, but you still have some crosses here and there to keep that hybrid vigor too.
Right. Right. Yep. Absolutely. You know, different. You know, dogs even in the same family can add different qualities. You know what I'm saying? To your yard until their DNA gonna bring different qualities. You know what I mean? So you might have a uncle that's full of mouth. You know, everybody know he's known for fucking his mouth. Whatever. Another one might be just game to the fucking core or whatever, and only one of them gets bred. I've been in yards before where they're breeding to one brother, but the other one has real good qualities. It's just that the breeder won't breed to him until he meets those qualities. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Well, you know, if they come from the same litter, if it was me, you know, which I did, you know, I'd breed both of them or all three of them. You know, if it's sisters, I bred the sisters to the same male. And then you have an idea of which sister can produce the best, at least from that male, you know. And you know, some, you know, what you would consider the lesser dog, they may produce better than his better performing brother. But the only way to find out is to breed them and see, right? And what that allows you also is, you know, you can still breed tight. You're not breeding. The one brother isn't the only focus on your family of dogs. You have another brother in there, or you have a sister, which again, you know, they have different traits. They have different things that they bring to the table, but they should also have a lot of the same traits. That's why you're focusing. That's what you're trying to do with your family of dogs. You're trying to build the type of dogs you like, and the ones that contain and retain and can pass on the traits that you like or want. Those are the ones you breed to. But again, the only way to find that out is to breed them and see, you know.
Right. Ram, what you say, man? Did you hear the question, bro?
No, repeat the question.
The question was, how do you build a consistent family of dogs? What breeding techniques to build high performance animals?
Man, there's so many of them, bro. Like Mr. Garcia was just saying, you could line breed, inbreed, you could outcross. You know, I did good with both. Like I bred brother to sister and produced a champion, and bred the brother to the male who I did brother to sister to a different bitch and produced a champion. So you know, there's different ways you could do it. My main thing, what I look for is the dog itself. Like take the old dogs, you know, that I like in the buckshot, his brother, same breeding, just off a different litter. They had the qualities of Jocko from the style, the look, all the way down to the one floppy ear that Jocko had. So I always paid attention to the physical traits as well as the attributes that they brought to the table. And they was, you know, modern day Jocko dogs, you know, even though Jocko didn't appear 50 billion times in the pedigree and, you know, wasn't inbred on them, none of that. Just the dogs they was off of through that Jocko phenotype, and they was able to retain that pheno and genotype and reproduce that, which is why, you know, those were some successful dogs all the way from the sire dam to them two and then their offspring on down. If the people who got the dogs now is continuing those same breeding practices that we did, they should still be doing good with the blood that, you know, they got from us. You know, other than that, man, just fucking good dog to good dog. When the outcross is when you feel like it, you might say, oh, I want him, he good, but I want him to do more of this. And if you got that, what you missing on the yards, you want to incorporate that. But always just breed the best dogs to the best dogs. And, for instance, we had two brothers too, litter mates. One was a champion and one would, run the champion over, even though he was smaller. I would pass that champion up, every time to go breed to his brother, because his brother, even though he didn't have any, accolades like that, he was still the better dog. So a lot of people would trip out like, oh man, why you ain't breed to Doty? He champion, whatever. I'm like, his brother is way better, so I'm gonna breed to the better dog. He worked better. He just was all around better dog. That's why we kept him just to breed to, and Doty got campaigned. So there's different ways to do it, though. It's not no one right way to do it. It's a whole bunch of wrong ways to do it, but it's not one right way to do it either. You know, Best thing I can say is when you do make your breedings, is keep everything you can and be honest with yourself and what is lacking, and make the right calls. That's
Yes,
the
indeed.
simplest way to pull it. Other
Yeah.
than that, man, you're gonna overthink some shit and all that. And I'm not a breeder at all. I breed the shit, I keep it. I just know what I like in a dog. So take that mentality, and what you like and what you want out of a dog when you're making that breeding, and look for those attributes, bro. That's the best advice I could give you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people think, the more times you see a dog in a pedigree, the better the pedigree. That's not necessarily true, or inbreeding. And I know some guys that were successful inbreeding for a long time, but you got to cull real hard. You got to be real selective, and you don't need all that inbreeding to have one or two or however many dogs influence in your family of dogs. You don't need that. It's proven not to work more than it has, because whatever is bad in there will end up coming out first. So you can inbreed tight, and you can even do it for generations, but your numbers are going to go down, you know, rather than having a bunch of good when you only going to have one or two here or there, and that's just common. It's common in everything, not just our breed, and there's some bloodlines, some dogs, some families of dogs that take the inbreeding better than others, you know.
Right.
And for instance, you can inbreed Jeep dogs for, you know, 2 or 3 or even 4 generations, but after that they're going to go south. The
Yeah.
red boy dogs, we know you can inbreed the hell out of them, and they'll still retain those traits. Zevo dogs, you can't do that with. You can't inbreed them because the
Oh yeah.
Handicap
bad.
dogs too. Like you start inbreeding and line breeding handicap, you're gonna get all the bad traits that every dog in this pedigree had, man.
Yeah, there you go. Because that's what it does. It concentrates the traits. Well, if it concentrates the good, it's going to concentrate the bad, and sometimes the bad overtakes it, and whatever good in there ain't worth it. It ain't worth keeping it that way, and you don't have to do it that way. That's a pretty ped. That's all it look pretty, you know.
Right.
But it don't. It has nothing to do with performance or anything like that. You got to go dog for dog, like Ram said. The dog itself, however it's bred, has to be good first,
Yeah.
and then in successive breeds you see whether they're worth the shit as far as keeping them and breeding them, keep breeding them.
Absolutely.
And on the side note, like if you looking on pets for a dog you want to breed to or whatever, check the siblings list. Check the parent siblings and see what they did too. Because you don't want to be breeding on a 1 in a million dog, because it's a good chance he will not reproduce himself or even close to it. But he could be, an exceptional, phenomenal dog. And if you go back, you do your research, a lot of real good dogs that had a lot of W's under their belt didn't produce worth a fuck,
Yeah.
whether you
Right.
knew how they was breed or not, or bred,
Mhm.
I mean, or not. Like Grand Champion 35, didn't know how he was bred. He was an outstanding performer, but you could breed that motherfucker to honey bunch and he'd throw you a whole litter full of curves. So
Yeah.
just always, be
But
mindful of that. What did the siblings of that dog do? What did the siblings of the parents of that dog do? Fucking what did their grandparents do other than, eat shit and be bred? So be
Yeah.
mindful of that too, man. You know?
yep, those were basically my standards. you know, the one, and they showed it to me. I just didn't say, okay, this is the way it's going to be, and that's how it works. That's what the dog showed me. The litters that had high percentage of good dogs in it were the ones that proved that they could produce also. But their parents, you know, they had to be winners and producers too, and the grandparents at least go back that far. Same thing. When you do that, then your you know, the outcome has a lot better chance of being good than you know, just getting one here and one there like that. And the dogs will show you that, because I bred some that you know, based on their performance, and they didn't, you know, hold up to that. You know, they were good enough to compete with, and some of them weren't good enough. But overall, those ones, you know, the percentage of litters from them and their parents and all that, they weren't good enough, and I ended up getting rid of all of them. Every drop.
Exactly. Like, you
Yeah.
want to stack the deck in your favor as much as possible, man. So, you know, you don't want to be 10 years in the game and you ain't even got a winner yet, but
Yeah.
you've been making the right selections and breeding right and all that. That's why I'm big on not chasing the bloodline and not trying to revive an old bloodline if it's not already working. Like, whatever idea you got and all that in your head is not going to work. For real. You just save some time. Just start off the right way. I seen somebody in the chat say bully son dogs could take an inbreeding, and you're right. Like, look at the R gang stuff. That shit is inbred all the way back to Midnight Cowboy and Candy and all of them dogs. Some dogs you could do that, but it also take the breeder to have the eye for that too. You know, because he breeding, you know, one male, which is a half cousin to two litter mate bitches, but you know, he real selective in the traits in his offspring that he choose to move forward with. So kind of got to be mindful of that too, man. Like, breeding is tricky, but it's easy too if you just keep it simple, you know, and just stick to the standards. You could get what you want. Like, you could get the desired look, all of that, you know. And when you make the out crosses, the desired look will still be there because you locked in the traits that you like. You just putting that out in there so you could keep your blood moving forward before you start getting all the inbred bad traits, you know, fucked up skin, you know, less performance, weak bones, weak teeth, all that shit that come with it, you know.
Yeah, I think and like you guys said, I think it come down to the breeder being honest with himself of what he's producing on his yard. I know a good breeder who, you know, he got some real heavy dogs. They like his pedigrees look beautiful. I mean, but he'll take the father to the daughter, all right, and the pedigree will just look sick, look crazy, right? But she might produce 5 or 6 puppies, and you'll only he'll only register one puppy because that's the only one that made it in his eyes. Only one made it. You know what I mean? The other ones, they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Don't nobody know what happened to them. They got called out the program, and she like, what happened to the dog? Did she have 5 puppies? Oh yeah, they didn't make it. You know, this one here made it. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's how it is sometimes. You know.
Yeah, but my standard was if only one made it, I would never fucking repeat that breeding. And those dogs, I would breed them to other good dogs to see if they would produce better than that. And if not, they would get cold too. I don't give a fuck, you know, who they off of, how they bred, none of that. You know, you got to be goddamn hard nosed with these dogs too, man. You know, 1 out of 5 is not good.
No.
2 out of 5 average. You 3 out of 5, you know, now you talking. Them the litters I look for. If 3 of them make it, the other 2 cool. But if I can't get that, I'm not doing it, man. It's not worth your time, for real.
Yeah, you save yourself a lot in the long run: money, time, heartache, all that.
Dog shit, pick up, all of that, man.
That.
You know, trust me. I wish we would have had this back when I was coming up. You know, I probably wouldn't have been able to spot a curve soon as I see him, but I'll be further along in the game. You know.
Yeah, true.
Yes, indeed. Yes, yeah. Another question: what should I use to start my foundation, male or female pup? I think we answered this question. Oh no, and he says, and what do you think about buying puppies in a pair? So this guy's asking, should he get a male or a female to start his yard as his foundation, and what's your thoughts on buying pairs of dogs, I guess. Puppies in a pair. Go with you, man.
Well, to answer the first one, I would start with a female, and if she turned out, like I said last week, breed her to a good producing stud that complements your bloodline, man. Go on and pay that stud fee for whatever it is, and just save your money up and spend the weekend out there breeding your dog. Don't just put it on the ship, get it bred, and expect it to come back, and you got this magical litter. Actually, put the time in that it takes to get that dog bred, and keep all the pups again and go from there. That's what I would do because a good producing bitch is way harder to come by than a good producing male, man. So yeah, I would start off, my foundation with a good bitch bred how I like, and she living up and producing her pedigree, reproducing that shit, breed that shit to a good male. As far as buying pups in pairs, hell yeah, if you like how they bred, why not? Because it's a good chance that one of them gonna make it, one of them not. You have 50-50 chance that they both could make it. So yeah, if you could afford to, grab two of them, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I known for grabbing two. One of them make it, one of them don't. They both don't make it, whatever. I don't blame it on the bloodline or the breeding. I just got the cur out the bunch. That's all. Just the luck of the draw sometimes. But yeah, man, if you can, get two of them. And if they both make you get a male and a female, shit, put them together and see what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my take on it. That's simple.
What's your take on it, Mr. Garcia?
Same. I would, if I'd had my druthers, I'd get a female. If I'm gonna start a family, if I'm gonna start breeding, see if she works out, then stick her to a good male. And like Ram said, is one anecdote was, anytime I bred outside my yard, I went there and bred to the dog, or I went and picked the dog up, or whatever, as much as I could. The one time I sent a bitch to be bred, that stuff didn't work out for me. It wasn't that, not that the ped was faked or anything. It's just that I didn't see that dog with my two eyes, and that was something that Boyles told me a long time ago. You want to breed to a male, go see them perform, and you have a first-hand account of what they look like. Because if I would have went with my bitch instead of sending her, I might have looked at the dog and said, "Man, that's a piece of shit. I don't like him. I won't. I'll breed to something else." Right. But I didn't. I just went on the guy's word and how the dog was bred and all that. But if I had a choice, yeah, I'd take a female first. And if I was going to get two pups from the litter, I'd get a male and a female.
Right.
Yep.
Salute to Chris in the Cash App. He says, "Good dog talk. Appreciate you, man. Salute to you." All right. Yeah, I think if you're gonna be a breeder, you're gonna start off your foundation for your yard. Yeah, it's best to go with a female for all the reasons Ram and Mr. Garcia pointed out. Just easier for you. You pay a stud fee, man, and now you got a fucking, you got you a fucking yard basically. All you gotta do after that point is cull the fucking puppies out and see what's gonna work for you and shit like that. But you can get your males from the bitch. You know what I'm saying? So you're good.
Yeah. Now, if you have the opportunity to buy a grown dog, say a proven, quote unquote, proven producer, if you're able to do that, that's another option. But sometimes people get rid of them because they know they're past it, or you get them and they're too old, and then you have other problems. But it does save you a lot of time. It'll save you a couple of years, or a few years, if you get one that's grown already. It's just, again, it's, do you trust the people? Are they honest? Because a lot of them will get rid of grown dogs because they quit. A lot of them will get rid of grown dogs because they know they're past it.
Right.
And a lot of them will get rid of good grown dog because, they got what they wanted out of them, and they can get some good money for it. They're still worthwhile, That just
that's when putting your eyes on the dog, you really got to. If you're going to buy a quote unquote proven producer, male or female, take your ass out there and see how that dog act on his yard. Do he run the chain how you like, or is he friendly when you walk up to him, or is his tail tucked back fur up? You want to see all of that shit now. Some people will sell you a good dog. I would make it a point to sell only good dogs when I do sell them. But everybody ain't like me, man. A lot of motherfuckers just try to get that bread off you right quick. You know, been
Yeah.
and sold you a mutt, and you be mad than a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, they done sold you a coal for a high price.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, be mindful of that. If you are buying a grown dog, get your ass out there and see him for yourself. Because like Mr. Garcia pointed out, he would have went out there and seen the dog. He probably wouldn't have bred to it, and he got the right to say that because the shit showed up in the breeding. You know, the breeding was probably trash. Bred
Exactly.
to one of his best bitches who known to throw some
E-
good dogs.
Exactly. That's
See,
exactly how it went. You know, and like I said, not the breeder's fault. The dog had thrown good dogs for other people and for him, and I did, compete with some of them off of there, but on the whole, some of them wouldn't scratch, some of them quit. They couldn't take punishment. They weren't durable, and I knew it was from that side because my dogs ain't like that.
and
So
that's the perk of breeding your own dogs too, though. You know
you
when it's
know
not
everything
your
about them.
dog's fault. You know, you like
Exactly.
hell no. I done breed this shit for the last 10 years, and I got all that bullshit out of my line. And I bred to this motherfucker, and here it go again. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Because there was some, even from my own blood, because of whatever reason, whatever traits I didn't like, I could compete with them, but I wouldn't breed them. They weren't good enough for breeding. They could win, but they weren't good enough for breeding. And that most people won't do that. They figure, well, hell, if he's, champion, grand champion, one time winner, two, like that, I'm gonna breed him. No, not necessarily. Not if it don't fall within your standard. Your standards are just rules. You should make them all up. What you expect, what you want, everything about them. And another thing most people don't do, which I did in the past, I kept as many records on them as I could. How many in the litter, who their parents were, what did their parents do, what were their roles like, what are the times that they won and lost, how they look, what was their behavior like, temperament and all that. Because in other industries that have a lot more money than we do, they keep everything from anything from blood work to bone marrow checks to health checks, hip, production. What is a, you know, with cattle, they found out that milk production comes from the bull side. Same thing with the egg laying and chicken comes from the male side, not the female side. And but over time, just keeping all these records of everything that you do, you ain't going to remember everything 5 or 10 years later. And most people don't do that. They just go on what they remember, what they see, and what's happening at the time. And you can do that, but you have a better understanding of where everything's coming from and what your dogs are and what you expect in future generations if you keep as many records as you can. Even the size of your dog and colors and anything, tails, ears, whatever. A lot of stuff I didn't because it wasn't important to me, but the important things I wrote everything down. I still have some of them records. They're 40 years old, over 40 years old, along with I had my standard rules. What about this? Which dogs do you breed? What do they have to do? How do they have to lose? If they quit, they're out. If they lose game, they're good enough for breeding, I'll breed them. Didn't matter if
Right.
they lost. It's how they lost, you
Right.
know, bone structure, all that. I like my females a certain way. I like them on the thicker side. I like them to be good mothers. Don't be killing pups and squashing pups and shit, you know.
Right.
And that just, because anything you keep, whatever's in them, it's going to come out. And the more shit in there you don't like, that's generally what comes out first, you know.
Right. Right. Yes, indeed. Let's see what we got here. Um. We got a question about allergies. American Pitbull Terrier. Oh wait a minute. Yeah, American Pitbull Terrier allergies. Can that be bred out of your dog, or is it considered a genetic flaw? What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Garcia?
Well, it is a flaw, and this may go back to what we were talking about last week or the week before about durability. You know, back in the day, I mean, you're always going to have something in your dog. It's going to pop up, but how often, how consistent is it? That's the difference. I never heard of dogs having allergies back then, especially to food. So it could be the way it's manufactured, the way it's processed. That could be the cause of the problem. But dogs, they should be able to eat all kinds of shit. I never heard dogs being allergic to chicken, you know, and now I'm
Right.
hearing that. Is it in there? Well, I guess everything's in there. Once it becomes pronounced, yeah, it's going to come out more and more and more. You know, you breed a dog that has allergies, his chances of throwing his allergies is higher. You know,
Right.
it's like diabetes with people or whatever. You know, but yeah, you can breed it out too. Don't breed to those dogs that have it. Don't breed to that blood or that family or whatever that has it in them. You know, if you can avoid it. If you do breed it, then the ones that have that allergy don't keep. And that's kind of hard because it might be a real good dog, but if he's got skin problems where he got patches all over his body and he's uncomfortable his whole life and he's never right. For me, it don't matter how good a performer he is. That negative aspect of him calls him from my breeding program. You know,
Right.
that's my take on it. But
Salute. What's up, Ronald Haskins? What's up? I am Legend Boxing. I see y'all in here. Bert, salute. Shanti Mindy, salute, salute. Snacks B, I see y'all. All right. Ram, what's your take on it, man? Allergies.
Man, I look at a dog with bad allergies like that, and I treat him like I would a cur. I wouldn't breed a cur. I don't give a fuck how he was bred, if he bit hard or whatever. You're not game. So the same with the dogs with bad allergies. And to drive that point further home, I sold a dog to my partner off one of my favorite dogs to a real good bred Clemens bitch, Clemens Fat Bill bitch. Now the bitch, when I bred her, like every litter was a dog with allergies. I only bred her twice, and I stopped breeding her after that because I peeped it. And now that she's passed, and my favorite dog, that I bred to the bitch has passed too, and it's only his daughter is left off of that breeding. She got bad as fuck allergies, and I will not breed to the bitch. And she, a good little dog, minus the allergies and all that. And much as I love, her sire, and she remind me of just a black version of him, I won't breed to that bitch. I won't take a pup off the bitch just because I know no matter what I bred her mom to, when I bred her to two totally different bred dogs, one Jeep Red Boy Jocko, the other one, Eli Carver, and she still produced that. So she's showing it. I don't want her to reproduce that and have to deal with a whole bunch of dogs like that down the line. Give a fuck how good they are. So I gotta treat her like if she was a cur as far as my breeding program go. And again, you ain't gonna catch me knowingly breeding to no goddamn cur. So I ain't gonna breed to no dog with no allergies. I wouldn't try to breed it out, none of that, man. It's just, fuck that. It's already hard enough getting a good dog without having to worry about fucked up allergies and shit.
Yeah.
So, I just call that shit, bro. It sucks, but again, people say I'm hard on the dogs. But yeah, I got foreign dogs too, with keeping that same type of beliefs and practices. Now I ain't saying,
exactly.
put the bitch down or no shit when I say Cole. That's just not gonna put her in my program. She's still a good dog in her own right, super sweet and all that shit. Just fucked up allergies. Hell no, I don't want nothing off of that because I don't want to deal with that. Even if I get a pup off her and it don't show that shit, he don't produce that. His offspring might produce it. Just too much to go on with the shit. Same as if you bred to a cur. He might throw you some bulldogs. And, the offspring might throw you bulldog, but that cur shit gonna pop up on you. And it's gonna pop up when you least want it to, and
Yeah.
fuck your whole shit up. So just, you know, uh you don't do it, bro. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well, we always talk about, gameness. That's the number one thing, which it is. But there's a whole lot of other reasons why you call dogs from your program. It could be whatever it is you don't like. If you don't want it, don't put it in there. Don't keep it in there. Maybe you don't like crooked tailed dogs. If that's what it is, that's what it is. And that's being hard on your dog. Well, that's what it is. You're only going to get success by following whatever it is you like and what proves to you to be the best ones. So yeah, gameness always, and everybody says gameness, game. They say it so much people get sick and tired of hearing it. But there's a lot of other reasons why you would cull a dog, and you're not wrong for doing that. You make the type of dogs you want. If you don't want them, don't breed them. Don't mean you have to kill them, like Ram said. You don't. You keep them there. You love the dog or whatever. Just don't breed it. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm trying to figure out where all these allergies came from. Like, what was it? Have they always been here and people just didn't give a fuck and weren't paying attention? or is this some new shit that's like in the air or pesticides or in the food or what the fuck? Where's this shit coming from?
Well, there's always everything. You know, it's just now there's more of it. It's more pronounced because, you know, in my opinion, I don't know, but people just accept that stuff and breed them anyway. It could be in the food, you know, but there was, you know, I grew up on pesticides. I probably said this before, but my daughter makes a joke. I want all the pesticides, all the chemicals on my food. I don't want no fucking bugs, and I don't, you know, I don't want shit on my stuff. You know, we used to spray Roundup with no mask, and we used, you know, malathion, all that shit. You know, I've never had a problem with it. Maybe it'll turn up later when I get older. I get cancer all over my body, but so far so good, thank God. But you know, and it could be what they're putting in food. You know, they're allowed so many preservatives, and they're allowed so different kinds of pesticides, and you know, all kinds of stuff. So that could be a part of it. But again, the durability of the dog in the past was so much better that a lot of that shit didn't bother them anyways. You know, my dogs could eat anything, old dead animals and salsa and lettuce and shit and candy and all that. Never had a problem with it. You know, nothing. You know, I'm not saying do that, feed your dog that way, but if they got a hold of a chicken, ate the whole chicken with fleas and feathers, it didn't hurt them. You just deworm them afterwards and dip them. You know, you're good. So I don't know what it is. Could be because the dogs ain't as tough, plus the preservatives and chemicals that the food has in it. You know.
Right,
I
right.
think it's that, or it could be genetically we at the time period to where it's all starting to consolidate because you know you only get so many genetics, you know, and we didn't bred so many of them that shit might start to be more prevalent. But you know, I'm not a
Yeah.
scientist,
Yeah.
so
No,
could be wrong, could be right.
that's part of it too. That's part of the gene pool is only so wide, so broad, you know, and you know, if you talk to doctors or whatever, they'll tell you that, you know, like cancer, you know, you may be healthy and all that, but everybody has a cancer gene. You know, everybody may have an allergy gene, or they may have congenital heart failure, whatever. You know, it's in there. Whether it comes out or not, that just depends on the individual. But with breeding, you know, you can make it more pronounced if you breed tight on it, or you keep breeding dogs that have it. And whether it starts off that it's genetic, once you introduce it and you keep breeding it, it becomes genetic. That's the way genes work. You know, that's people say genes don't change. That's bullshit. They deteriorate. They do change. There are certain things with genes that don't change, but uh, they do change. You know, you just got to do a
Yeah,
little
just
research.
environment make the gene structure
That has a
change.
lot to do with it too.
Like
Yeah,
me and
that's
you could get a fucking clone off the same Girl Scout cookie plant, and because I take mine home, I'm hotter out here. It's going to lean more to the sativa side, so it could
yep,
survive. Where yours, you cooler, you know, you're gonna be more on the indica side
yep,
because you
yep,
cooler. We got
yep,
the same exact fucking shit off the same plant though, and just because I
yep,
moved, boom, my environment changed the genetic structure of that, so the plant can survive
yeah.
out in
Yeah,
this climate.
That's
absolutely.
true.
Great,
People
great
didn't,
place.
yeah, people didn't think that either, but that's true. The environment, how they're raised, what they eat, how you treat them, what their housing, whatever it is, that all plays a part in their genetic makeup. And whether it's there before, or whether you introduced it, or like Graham said, because you know it's hotter over there, that becomes part of their genetic marker. That's the way it works. And you know, I've always felt that way, even though I don't know shit about genetics. But I always felt that yeah, something can be introduced. You know, it's like a kid. He might come from a good family, but the way he's raised, if you fuck him all up, he could become a serial killer or a murderer. You know,
Hell
he
yeah.
might not have that in him when he was born, but it was introduced to him. The way he was brought up, now he's that. And if he has kids and he raises them that way, or just his, because it's in his genes, he could throw that too. You know, and that's
Okay.
kind of funny. People,
Exactly,
you
because
know,
it's part of his genetic memory now. You know, you done
exactly. Yeah.
downloaded that information into your gene pool now. It might not be dominant, but it's there and you can pass it on.
Hmm. Yep. That much has, at least science is agreeing with that part. you know, which before wasn't too sure, but now they do tests. It's interesting because they do a lot of tests on dogs as related to humans because they've been domesticated so long. Now they're using, a dog's lifespan is shorter, so they can get the information faster over the course of a lifetime of a dog, and they use a lot of that information as it relates to humans, and it makes sense because they've been domesticated so long, and they're mammals like we are, and they're we're such in close proximity with them, living with them, raising them, breeding them, and all that. So they're just using that information as it pertains to humans. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. That's what they're doing now.
Right. All right. Then we got a question here. Someone asked thoughts on Bolio Red Boy crosses. Do you have any experience with those? Have you seen them, Mr. Garcia?
Bolio Red Boy, not really, but it's the same old cross. If you believe Red Boy's pedigree is Colby, and then you have the the a lot of spiked Black Widow and a little bit of Heinzel with the Bolio, so that's the Daibo stuff. So it's just making that same cross. I'm trying to think if I ever seen any or but off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with that cross, but that's why I say it would work, because it's just the same cross has been done before over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
good old Dime Daibo. That cross is proven no matter how you put it together.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you seen it. Like, look at Mayday. He Bolio Red Boy with some tombstone
there
in there.
Go. Yeah.
It still worked. Red Boy Jocko. It still worked.
Yeah. He even got some. He got some of that old Eli Corvino. What is it? Eli Corvino Bolio way in the back. He's got that too. So yeah, the Mayday dogs. I've seen a few of them. I ref a few of them. So that's one good example. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What you say, Ryan?
Ram would know more about that than me.
Yeah, I like it, man. Red Boy crossed with, again, like, had good dogs off of a Red Boy alligator breeding. That's putting the Dime Daibo back in there. Again, it's only so many genetics we get in these dogs, so you can start putting them together. No matter what the name on the pedigree say, you get back far enough, you're gonna see it's a Dime Daibo cross that was proven to work then, and it's still working right now if you make it in. You go about it the right way, make the right calls and all that shit.
Yeah. Even if you ain't familiar with the past, when you do make those types of breedings, even if you do it not knowing, unconsciously or whatever, you're going to find out that that's what they go back to, is that Dime Daibo or Kobe Tudor, whatever it is, Leitner, they used to call it the Kobe Tudor or the Heinzel Kobe. They used to call it the old rugged cross, because it's just been repeated over and over and over again.
Yeah, with more good dogs that's not listed than you could fucking imagine. Like, people today would look at that pedigree and be like, that's okay, and would pass on the dog, because you don't know what the fuck you looking at. But them old dogs will fucking clean your whole yard up for you and still be ready to eat dinner. Stand at the dog bowl at the end of the day and eat the rest of the dog food.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Somebody asked a question. Your thoughts on what's that? Tobacco Roads, Boils Dogs, and what the panel think of Grand Champion Alpo as a producer. I know this is like the Alpo stuff is recent. You know what I'm saying? That's recent stuff.
Yeah, Alpo producing stories still being written.
Right.
That's, again, an exceptional dog, but can he reproduce himself, or at least half as good as himself, to be able to throw good, competing dogs? And that's yet to be told. Some dogs do good in the first couple of breedings, and sometimes the dog don't get to breed to a bitch that compliment him, 5 years down the line. So I really couldn't call it on Grand Champion Alpo just yet. Then the same goes for El Titre. This shit is still fairly new in the history of the dogs, go. As far as Tobacco Road, honestly, bro, I never heard of them, man. So I wouldn't even feel comfortable speaking on them. You feel me? I don't
Right.
be talking about shit I don't know.
Yeah, and whatchamacallit, yeah, I was like you said about uh Alpo. Him, a lot of people ask me about Alpo and Grand Champion Hog. Yeah, like Ram said, these stories are still being written as far as them as producers. So, you're not gonna know until you know, 7, 10 years from now when we're talking about what dogs are still. I mean, think about this: Hog's father, War Pony, is still producing. So, like, to ask about what Hog is doing right now is like way premature. And Alpo, he being bred a lot right now to a lot of females. So you'll know in a few years. What I mean, he's a good dog though. That's a good dog. He bred well. A lot of you know, his bottom half got a lot of that boomer shit up in there and stuff. He really nice dog. You know what I'm saying? So he should be able to. You would think he can produce well, but just time will tell.
Yep, yep. The Tobacco Roll, I've heard of him. He's a Boyle's dog. I'm a fan of Boyle's dog, so if he had anything to do with it, I would trust it just on that. But again, you got to see. And most dogs, during their time, even when you start breeding them, they ain't famous, and you don't know enough about them. Even the most famous dogs you can think of, it's always after their career is over, after their production has gone on for several generations. Then you can judge the quality of the dog. They if you didn't know the dogs at the time, like Art or Zeeble, it's just a dog. Now it might be a badass dog, but it's in that respect, it's just a dog that's competing right now, and it's a good one. When they're finished, that's when you can tell, because there's a lot of 4, 5, 6 time winners. They end up quitting, so that would stop that right there. And production, I don't know the Alpha and none of them, but you know if you think it's going to work for you, you jump on the bandwagon, and if you smart and you got a lot of luck, you might be ahead of everybody else if it works. If it don't work, then again, it's a lot of time and money wasted. But you don't know that. You got to go through it. You got to see. It's not knocking anybody, because that's just the process. You know, you make one breeding, you still got to wait a couple of years, 3 years sometimes.
Right.
And then you make another one after that, and this and that. So people, a lot of times, you take the chance. I'm gonna breed this dog several times and see what happens. Because if you do it once and wait 2 or 3 years, not now you lose out on 2 or 3 years of breeding.
Mm-hmm.
Which some people do that too. You know.
Right.
Yeah, that depends on if you got the space to, breed a
Yep.
couple bitches to that one male, and you can keep everything to make a full assessment.
Yep.
Like, it's a lot that go into this shit, like a lot of little intricacies, man,
Yeah.
that, we could think of right on the spot while we talking. Like, yeah, you got to do this too. You got to do that.
Yeah.
It's not just no end all be all Cali Jack, stole
Yeah.
everybody information and consolidated into one book type shit.
And
You
Yeah.
got to be out there. Go ahead,
You
bro.
got to
My
do it.
bad.
oh no, I was gonna say somebody asked me too about uh like when I was gonna breed my dog, or do I plan on breeding my dog? Um, and I was gonna say, like, if my dogs turn out to be what I want them to be, then eventually I'm gonna breed them. But like, make no mistake about it, if I had fucking 50 chain spots and shit, I wouldn't sell nobody nothing. I keep all this shit and look at it myself, and then you know, see what I got and shit, and you know what I mean. And then I start after that. After I see what I got, then I would start selling dogs because I know what I'm selling. Because right now, you fucking like, I wouldn't want to put my name behind some shit that I'm not sure what the fuck I even got yet. You know what I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I want to know what the fuck I got before I start selling shit.
Yeah.
And people go, oh man, I got this shit from '78, man. Some bullshit, man. No, man, I don't want to do that. I keep all my. Ideally, I would want to keep all my shit for like the first 5 to 10 years and shit, so I can see what the fuck I got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's
You got to
really
be
how
aware.
long it take,
Yeah.
for you to see what you got. If you making breedings like that, 5 to 10 years, man, and that's only 2, maybe 3 generations. You
Yeah.
feel me? This shit
Mm-hmm.
take time, so yeah, that you would do it the right way. Just because you got some good shit that's bred up how you like and all that, None of them dogs might not make it, and you be fucking all Eli dogs, next. You feel me?
Right, right.
That's just how this shit goes. Some make it, some don't. If
Yeah.
you're lucky enough, you do it the right way, you could get dogs that make it more than not. But trust and believe, every fucking bloodline throws curves consistently. Your
Yeah.
favorite stud Rom dog, he didn't throw his fair share of curves,
He
man.
he
That's
he,
just
he threw
the ebb and
mostly
flow.
curves. He threw mostly
Yeah,
curves.
that's just the name of the game.
Exactly. Your
Yeah.
favorite rhyme dog threw mostly curves, bro. Trust me.
Yeah. People don't talk about that, and like I was saying earlier, when you keep records, you got to be honest and keep records of those shit dogs too. That way you can make an honest assessment, you know. And people don't like to do that because it's embarrassing or they get criticized. Well, that happens to everybody. I don't care if you Earl Tudor, I don't care if you Maurice Carver. It's going to happen. You accept that and do what you do anyways, because there ain't no 100%. There ain't no guarantees of nothing. And that's just the way it is. That's nature. That's God. Whatever you want to call it. That's
Only
just the way it
guarantee
is.
that dog gonna eat, and later on he's gonna be a pile of shit out there for you. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to clean it up.
Yeah.
That's your only guarantee with this shit, bro. Well, if you get anything besides that, consider yourself blessed by the bulldog gods and respect the game and keep that shit going.
Hey, Snacks B in the super chat. What it do, man? Salute to your family. Says, how y'all feel about them Soros dogs? I never owned a Soros dog, but I know people who did. They seem to love the dogs and shit, man. I've seen them in action. They some good dogs and stuff, but they used to be at least. I don't know what they still are now. What's your experience with Soros dogs, Mr. Garcia?
Well, the ones I seen, they were good like anything else. You see good and bad. They were, as far as style goes, they were smart and rough and good air and all that. Competitive. He himself was real competitive. You know, it just depends, which ones you got. And as far as today goes, I don't know nothing about them other than Joni still breeds them, I think. But I wouldn't know anything about them. But the history of them, it was good. He went everywhere, fought everybody, big conventions. He was successful. His dogs were good for some. Some, they don't like them, but that happens again. Just like we're saying, they could be litter mates to the ones that people got that were good, but the ones they got were shit. That happens. It just, you can't knock a bloodline for that.
Right. Hey, what's your experience with Soros dogs, Ram?
Well, honestly, I like the Rick dogs better than Bert's. They was built more how I like my dogs to be built and look. Even though he didn't compete as much as Bert, he still did his fair share of shaking and moving. So, plus I had more experience with dogs from Rick. Rick used to stay out here where I'm at and all that shit. You feel me? So, it's just one of them things. I ain't saying one better than the other. Just from my own personal experience, I like Rick Trolls dogs better than Bert's. Simple as
Okay.
that. Yeah, none. I seen somebody post. I think it was Ashanti Mendy said. You think about buying straws off Big Red? Is there some Big Red straws still out there, Mr. Garcia? Is that all hype?
Well, I knew the kid who had some. He had like 4 breedings, and I know he sold one. I don't know if he has the other 3. I don't know if that one is still around. But as far as uh, the availability and the numbers, that's not. It ain't there. There ain't a bunch of them. He was collected, but he wasn't collected that much. And like I said, this one kid had the last of it. He sold one, so there ain't. I'd be leery of someone saying, there's breedings, frozen semen breedings off of Big Red. There wasn't.
Yeah. Then that shit was so long ago. The count might be so low. Like, would it be worth it to spend the money that somebody asking for that?
Yeah.
There ain't no guarantee. And when those were collected, he was old. Not that he didn't produce when he was old. He's a rarity kind of, because he produced up until almost the day he died. He was 15 years old, and he was still producing good dogs. That don't happen a lot.
Uh, Fucking golden vein. He had platinum balls.
That's it. That's it. And uh, especially with females, they kind of lose it just because of the wear and tear on their bodies, you know. And you'll hear people say, well, they threw as good when they were old as when they were young. And I would question that because they weren't bred when they were young. You know, most dogs, they don't start getting bred till they're 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, whatever, when their career's done or whatever.
Right.
So you would have to have bred them when they were young, compare that to when they were old, and then you could come up with a true assessment of them. So,
You know, that's a
you
good
know,
question. For you guys, for me to ask you guys, this is just my question for my own knowledge. What would you say is a good age to start collecting? From just say you got mail, you wanna make sure you have his blood around just in case something happens. What do you say? Like 2 years? Is that good enough? Start
Man,
collecting?
hell no. After he didn't prove to be worth being collected, you know, collecting them is the same as breeding them. If he hasn't proven to be worth you breeding them, fuck that.
Hey, you
Wait.
see that? I tried to
yeah,
slide that in on Ram. Ram's like, no, where you
yeah,
going? You ain't sliding that
yeah,
shit
yeah,
down.
Yeah,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah,
Sir, let me
yeah,
check your bag.
yeah,
You
Hey,
shoplifting.
Ram said, hey, no, fuck that. The rules still apply, motherfucker. What you doing
mhm,
over here?
Yeah, hell yeah. If he proved to be worth being collected, that's the same as breeding them. You wouldn't breed
yeah,
him if you ain't know he would
yeah.
jump the fucking pit in 2 minutes.
Oh,
Hell
okay.
no. Same
Okay.
with collecting them.
See, and
Hell no.
that's where, see, that's where people get by on that stuff. You know, there's dogs that you can breed. Let's say, you know, they're 3 years old. You check them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're good to go. That would be the time to collect the shit out of them
Right.
before they get too old. But see, people are going to use that as an excuse now, you know, where you know, I better collect him now in case he don't make it or he dies or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand the reasoning behind that, but that's not the excuse for start collecting when they're a year old. You know,
Hell no.
Yeah.
Fuck
unless
no.
you know, unless you got money and you do the right thing and you collect them when they're 2 years old, and then if they don't pan out, you dump all that frozen semen you got.
Yeah,
But
you tell him to fucking
you think,
destroy that shit.
yeah, you think people gonna do that? I doubt it. I doubt it.
Fuck
Right.
no, because it costs collect
They're
and
gonna,
storage.
eh,
So
eh,
yeah.
yeah, they're gonna wait 10 years till the dog's dead and everybody forgot about them, and then say I got this producer from the past. You know, you
Right.
gotta be
Hell
careful.
yeah. He threw 10 champions, none of them listed. Like, come on, man.
Hmm.
Somebody would have
Hmm.
posted one. Goddamn.
Yeah, yeah, you ain't gonna forget all of them. I don't care if it's 10 or 20 years later. Somebody gonna remember them. So yeah,
Yeah, I
Hell
know some
yeah.
again,
people.
it
I know
sounds
some
like a
people that got some.
peddler's move.
Yeah, that's what it is. I know some people who got some old blood, but that's all it is. It's just old blood. It's not like the dog wasn't shit when he was here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so to a greenhorn or somebody new who if they fascinated by this old blood, they're like, oh shit. You know,
yeah,
they see that shit, it looks impressive to them, but they forgetting the fact that this dog is like, nobody even knew who the fuck he was when he was here.
yeah, yeah.
And like he never did shit. He probably got chunked off on his own yard, curved out in his own yard or something, and you know, somebody
Well,
just fucking collected him.
I would question. Well, how old is old blood? What years are we
Well,
talking about?
let's say a dog that's I say a dog right now, a dog that was collected in the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's possible because in the 80s, you know, when it first even started, there was only one place in the U.S. that did it. That was in Texas, and it was expensive, and you had to go there and you know, stay there a few days, rent a motel. It costs a lot to have the procedure done, and it costs a lot to store it. We're talking thousands of dollars over time, you know, or even it might cost you $2,000 or $3,000 to have it collected just that one
Mm-hmm.
period in time. And there was only one place that did it in Texas. So from the 80s at least, someone telling me they got a dog from then they better have gone through that process. They better be telling me, yeah, there was only one place this way you had to do it, Dr. So and so, and blah blah blah. But when you see
Right,
these old dogs, like they say, well, I got Iron Head or I got, you know, straight off of, you know, Boomerang, bullshit.
right.
And I've
Oh, that's
seen
yeah, that's
those.
bullshit.
I've seen those, you know,
Oh
where
well, you saw people trying to get that shit off? Boomerang
yeah,
dog?
not Boomerang or like that, but dogs that were around in the 80s,
Right, right, right.
right? And I know they didn't do it because they didn't do it back then. Nobody talked about it back then, but they can say it now because now collecting semen is a big deal. So they think it's always been done that way. Now it's cheap. You can do it yourself. There's a unit you can buy, and you can keep the frozen semen in your own home. Learn how to collect it yourself if you want to pay the money to learn.
Yeah,
But
yeah, live life real. He just put me up on that. Like I can collect my mail and send it right to you overnight, and you can put it right in your bitch, man. You don't even got to go to the vet no more. Back then,
Exactly.
not so much. And that place in
Yeah.
Texas is still the best place in the country to go.
Right.
To
Yep.
this day, because
Yep.
they was the first to do it. So yeah,
Yep.
you right. If motherfuckers saying they got shit off a Jeep and all that,
Yeah.
no.
No, the most I've seen is a son of Jeep, and I seen a son of Jeep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a
Well, I think
grandson of Jeep.
they have Tab or Tab Junior or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I seen the son. I know where to get some son of Tab shit, but the dude he flat out told me he said the semen it wasn't good quality though.
Yeah.
He wanted 10 grand for that shit too.
Everything erodes over time, and then you have, and I'm not saying it don't work, but the female is half of the thing too. So if you're taking a well-bred dog and you breed them to some piece of shit female, through AI or whatever, that you're lessening the chances it's going to work, and that I've heard that, I've heard some good stuff come out of it, competitors and good dogs, but I've also heard, a lot of junk coming off of it. And it's not that the dog that they collected wasn't a good dog. It's just, what are you breeding them to? They're breeding them all on paper. And they're breeding them untested bitches, and they're breeding them to shit female that they wouldn't produce if the dog was alive today. So you just, that's what's happening.
You know who making a killing off of that shit? That overnight semen shit is like the bully community. They killing that. It's some motherfuckers in the bully community. I'm not saying everybody, because you know what I mean. There's some cool guys in the bully community, but it's some dudes that be scamming and shit. They be having like these fucking champion dogs that everybody wants semen off of them, and they be selling them motherfuckers anything, man, for 10, 15 grand too.
Man, this a motherfucker do that with the Bulldogs. That soldier being advocate motherfucker. He say, oh, such and such has sold the dogs. They now belong to Sokovia getting over, whatever the fuck his name is. You go check the data on the pad. Like, you just posted this pedigree, motherfucker. Like, he got grand champions and champions all of a sudden that I ain't never seen, and I didn't study pedigrees forever.
Forever. I mean, there's always people, they just looking for ways to scam because they're looking at the dollar, And with bullies, I understand it because that's all they're good for anyway, they're pets and all that. So, I mean, there's all kinds of money to be made there. But with bulldogs, man, they're shiesty people. They do all kinds of stuff, I seen a pedigree online that was bully son bred to tornado. Now whether they just put up there as a, look and see how it would look, or whether they're saying this was done, there's no way it was done. So why even put it up there? Who you trying
bully son was long dead before tornado popped up.
Yeah. Just like they say Jesse Rod's Midnight was off of Pit General. There's no way. There's a 20-year difference between when he was born and when Pit General was around. So maybe Pistol was, maybe, but his sire, Midnight Sire.
And that's a big maybe,
That's a big maybe. That's a big maybe. Come on now. What I've heard is it ain't even what people think. Who did it, who done it, where he ended up that, I ain't gonna say it because some of the people are still alive, and I'm not gonna talk about it. But it's, believe me, it's not what people think. Not who, not where. And I'll say this, just like I've said it before. If you have someone break into your home, or you have someone steal from you with his dogs, or you have someone do you harm, it's usually someone who's close to you, someone they know you intimately.
Right.
They know where your dogs are. They visited your yard. They this and that. That's who I'd be looking at, not some stranger, not some guy that some fool that just come along, or some dog guy that wanted your shit. It's somebody somebody you think is your friend.
Exactly. Same with Art, Like, I know a guy who bred to Art, and got a son off of him. He collected the semen off of that son. You know, he still got semen off of that, and that's who the one who told me about, you know, where it was stored and all. He's ran the same story down you did, as far as back then. You could only go take it to Texas to get it stored, and he still got the shit out there now. And he
Hey,
don't got no connection to art team or none of that, you know.
Yep.
hey, Ram,
Yep.
who's the brother? Well, I don't want to put him on blast, but it was a brother who used to be in the chat all the time when we talk boxing. And when we first started talking about the dogs, he said his uncle was the one who snatched up Art and shit. Remember that dude?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. uh,
I can't remember who said that though. I can't
yeah, I
remember who
remember.
more.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna say, because again, you know, I'm still might be alive and all of that, man.
Right.
You know, it is
Yeah.
usually because the owner of the dog did some fucked up shit, you know, that could have got him killed. So luckily, all you lost was a dog and not your life. You know,
I mean, it happens
you
like that sometimes, man.
yeah, it usually be just bullshit behind the scenes that you really don't want to get involved in, because you
Yeah.
know
well, yeah,
that's
well,
gangster
Yep.
shit that
absolutely.
Yep.
don't pertain to you.
A lot of gambling took place, a lot of bets and shit like that. Motherfuckers couldn't cover shit. I'm not saying that's the case for the art situation. I'm saying in general, like a lot of stuff happens and people do shady shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if somebody owed me $3,000 and they ain't got the money to pay me, and I take their car keys and drive off in their car, the news gonna report that I stole their car. That's all they're gonna
Yep.
say. You know what I'm saying? So you're
Yeah.
not gonna get the backstory, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's usually something, not always, but usually something else to it, that personal, that the
Yeah,
general
like
public
how I
they
got
don't
my
know about it.
first dog. You know, I went to my first show. The dude who was handling conditioning him owed the guy a lot of money who took me there. So he got his winnings and took the dog, and that's how I ended up with my first dog. He's already had won two at 12. I'm 12 years old, two-time winner. Don't know what the fuck is up from down with this shit. I got the dog though, and dude got to live up to his old age. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Let me get to this next one here. Um, okay. Greatest dog man of all time. Somebody asked me the question. They want to know um, who was the greatest in our opinions. Who was the greatest dog man of all time? If we're uh, adding in handling, conditioning, and breeding, right? If we talk about a person that did all three,
Yeah, I could just go off to what I know. You know, I always talk about what I know, and I say Schoolboy because I know him. You know, he won more than you fucking could ever imagine. Produced better dogs than most of us ever seen in our life. So my vote, Schoolboy. Second would be my partner Billy, who showed me how to properly handle and condition. You know, them two motherfuckers is unsung heroes that, you know, their story won't be told until I'm in my 50s and 60s, you know, and they've been out the game. So yeah,
yeah,
Schoolboy for sure, because his blood is still going strong right now. Everybody don't know where it's at, you know, I do, but without him, that shit wouldn't be cracking. So I say Schoolboy, bro, because I
yeah,
know him, and I know, you know, his sacrifice he gave to the game too. You
and I
I
feel
want
me?
appreciate
to,
that.
yeah, and I want to
I
say this
appreciate
too
that.
about Schoolboy, man. You know, I appreciate the fact that Schoolboy is open and how free he is with his time, and he willing to come on here and talk with the younger generation about these dogs. Because there's a lot of arrogant, stuck up ass people out here, man. And then some of these people we looked up to. We looked up to them like legends, and they won't even give you the time of day. They look down on you like you a piece of shit or something. Schoolboy is the most down to earth, coolest dude I didn't talk to in these dogs. He always available. If he's not available, that's cool. But he don't mind sharing knowledge. You know what I mean? And teaching people. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Schoolboy.
Well, I appreciate that from both of you, and you know, it humbles me. You know, I don't have an ego. You know, part of the reason I do it because, you know, this stuff wasn't available to me back then, so I had to learn a lot of it on my own. You know, and I know what it's like, and I'm not one of those that you know. There's some stuff, very little that I don't share for whatever reason, just like we talking about pit general or whatever. But most of it I will share. You know, and I understand why people don't want to share, especially if you active. That's okay. I understand that. But most of them, I learned a lot of them, not most of them, but a lot of people, they don't share because they're bullshit. They 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 they
Right.
really ain't done that much. And there's a lot, even people in my group, they give a lot of information, this and that, but they really don't have the experience. If you do 2 or 3 dogs, that's one thing. If you do dozens of them, that's a big fucking difference over years. you know. So I've always been that way, even when I was active, because for me there ain't no secrets really. It can you can learn it. It might take you longer, and you get in with some good people, and you guys will help each other and like that. That's why I respect you guys. You're preserving the breed here, and you're giving information that ain't readily available, and it comes from people like Ram that have experience, that really did something. It's not bullshit. You can't fake it. I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and figure out whether they're full of shit and lying or if they're for real. you know
Right.
and when you get around and do a lot of things, you can give that experience, and it's just for the benefit of the breed. That's what's always in my mind. That's why I'm so humble, because, and I don't have an ego, because I don't know everything. But even in the past, I was okay with that because my opponent didn't know everything either. So we were good. so
Right.
so that's kind of the way I look at it, and that's why I do it. I love the dogs, and if I can help, I'll help. If it helps you, great. If it don't, that's okay too. you know and
Indeed.
as far as I seen on there Tudor, because he did
Right.
everything, and it was at a time when you could do all kinds of stuff and get away with it. And he did it all. As far as handling, I'm not an asshole, but I feel like I was the best.
Hey, that's
I
what's
may
up.
not have been the best conditioner, and but I could compete at a top level, because I learned the hard way. But as far as handling, nobody was going to out handle me, and there's
Right.
a lot to it. There's I did things that other people didn't do, like most people will follow their dog around, and I kind of worked in a counterclockwise position, because that way my dog's always going to see me, and I anticipate to be where the dogs are going to be in a second or two, and I'm already there, right? And I pay attention to the dog, and I practice handling with my right hand, left hand, front, back, side. So whatever I needed to make a handle, it didn't matter what position the dog was in, I could handle it. But you got to pay attention to the dog. I wasn't the type to be talking to people outside the, this and that. Even my seconds, I rarely took my eyes off of my dog, and I could still hear what they're saying. I could hear your advice. You know, Same thing when I'm reffing. I can hear you. I know who the seconds are. I don't have to look at you. I don't have to talk to people, right? And you got to know when to talk to your dog, when not to, where to move, where to place yourself. You go with the flow. You follow what the dogs are doing, and you got to anticipate when they're going to come out of hole. And the second that you see that they're gonna come out of hole, that's when you should be reaching down to handle them. So when they do, it's in unison. It's timing. You got them, and you're gonna snatch your dog up. You'll be in the corner, and the guy's standing there looking like, what the hell happened? So I practiced that a lot. That was my favorite thing to do, was handle.
Right.
I'll handle my dog, your dog, his dog, anybody's dog, her dog, good dog, anything, just for that practice and just because I liked it. But as far as old timer guys, I would consider Tudor to be the best. He had a win streak one time. One year he won 25 matches in a row. That's unprecedented. And there's guys that have since then have done that probably, but consistently over decades, nobody did what he did. And in today's times, you can't do that. I don't care who you are, where you live, even if you're in another country, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
It's hard to do it, especially against real bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he was facing some real bulldogs back in them days.
Yeah,
But
because the people that did it, they was all serious. It wasn't like
right.
now where I mean, they had some people that just show dog people were just having for pets, but in that circle, everybody was serious. Everybody competed, you know, and he was real active. Whereas today, people have the breed for different reasons, and that's okay too. But in that respect, it's not the same. I don't think it'll ever be like that unless it's legalized or something, which
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. Cause well, can't really say what I want to say, but you know, it's just,
That's
it's just,
okay.
it's
We
fucked
can
up,
we
man.
can guess, you know.
Yeah,
We can guess. We can
right.
dream too, you know. We can
Nah,
fantasize, you know.
I mean,
nothing
that's
wrong with a
just,
little speculation every now and again.
yeah.
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
these dogs, man. I just wish tree huggers sometime um, really understood what these dogs were and could appreciate the beauty in these dogs and really appreciate it. Stop trying to make the dogs your kids and stop trying to make the dogs this other shit. Like just whatever, man. Teach his own. Like some people don't. Some people are against fishing. You know, I love to fish. Some people, oh, how could you put a hook through a poor fish's face? What kind of savage are you to put a hook through a fish's face? You know, oh, how could you eat meat? You know, and then I ask you the same question. How could you walk on grass, you fucking tree hugger? Why are you walking on the living grass? You know, the grass
Yeah.
it's trying to fucking survive. You know, you just stepping all over this shit. You know what I mean? You're walking on ants and shit, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Go ahead.
people like to eat. That's why you do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you see the dogs for anything else except what they were bred for, then maybe you need your head examined. You know, it's funny because the pit bull was a symbol for the United States before World War One, before
Absolutely.
we got involved in it. You know, and people understood, you know, honor and truth and gameness and heart and toughness. You know, and people that look at dogs or have in the past, if you're looking for blood and guts, you know, then maybe something wrong with you. You know, there's a lot more to it than that. You
Right.
know, just the what the animal, you know, how they think and what they go through and how natural it is for them to do it, and because they want to. You can't force them to do it. They do it because that's what they were bred for, and we're responsible for their breeding. We're the ones who made them that way. People did. And it's not just dog, it's every domesticated animal, every breed. Now all the other breeds, they're all fucked up. Gladly ours ain't like them,
Right.
but
Right.
they all had a purpose, and it was okay, and people understood that. You know, even my mom, she's 4'9.5". She's tough, man. She's still that way, and that's the way she grew up, and that's the way she raised us. And my dad was the same way. You know, so that those attributes, that way of thinking, it's waning. You know, it's kind of going away. You know, it's I hate to say this, but it's kind of sissifying people.
Right.
You know,
Hell yeah. And then those other breeds though too, this kind of answered the question about hips. You start seeing hip dysplasia because they start breeding like the German Shepherd for something other than fucking work. You
Right.
right.
breeding them for show now, so you don't care about his hips and all that. And to answer the question, as far as the American Pitbull Terrier go, fuck no, we don't worry about hips. That shit, that's like fucking. I went and bought a Hellcat. It's gonna come with the fucking 6.2 in it. That's to be expected with the pit bull. Great hips and all of that because we breeding for still performance wise, be it
Right.
weight pull, wall climb, or some people still breeding for the box and doing that in other countries I hear. But we don't got that hip dysplasia problem because we breeding for the next best thing all the
Right.
time.
It's that simple. If you don't know nothing about genetics, or you don't know nothing about structure or health or anything, if you just do something with the dog, keep it healthy and athletic and busy, and you ain't gonna have physical problem because you ain't breeding them for what they look like or what their color is. You're breeding them for what they do, and by that very nature, you're going to eliminate 90 or 95% of any physical mental problems that the animal will have. And with other breeds, they didn't do that. They got away from it. So now the German Shepherds have hip dysplasia, and you have the old English Bulldog and Bull Terrier got mental problems and they can't breathe and all this shit because they got away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you breed for looks and not performance, that's the destruction of the whole fucking breed. And it's happened over and over again. Horses, birds, chicken, whatever. You know, hound dogs too. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's what happens. So there's something to be said about all that being tough and being performance based. It eliminates, just by the very nature of doing that, a lot of the problems that you see in other animals.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I think it's animal cruelty to me. I think animal cruelty is having a golden retriever and keeping it in the fucking apartment and shit. Like, I think that's animal cruelty and shit. Like, you know what? Oh, every Friday we go to the park and shit. Okay, well, that's like being in fucking prison and they let you out fucking one day a fucking week or some shit. That's ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you have a working dog, a working breed. The dog needs to fucking work, and dog men are getting in trouble because they have a fucking treadmill in their garage. You know what I'm saying? You got a treadmill and you want to work your dog out, burn off some energy and shit. And it's, oh, you must be a dog fighter. You must be doing something illegal with these dogs. Why are you trying to get your dog in shape? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. It's the most ridiculous, stupid
It
shit
is
I've ever
because,
seen.
you know, you have everybody now goes to the gym, tries to stay fit on a certain diet, and their dogs are hog fat. How does that not transfer to your dog? And if you did get involved in dog sports or hunting or bird dogs or lure course or, you know, any of that stuff, I mean, it would benefit you too. You're getting out there, you're doing something with your dog, you're doing what the dog likes. You can appreciate the dog for what it is. You understand why they do what they do. They're born to it, they're bred for it. That's what they enjoy most. And now you're changing them, or you're not letting them do what it wants to do. And like you said, that could be viewed as being cruel. You know, you're denying them their heritage. You're denying them their
what they're genetically inclined to do. I know a motherfucker who went and bought a healer and then get mad because the dog fucking be in the house all day while he at work. Now the dog trying to herd him and the kids and all that shit, nipping at their heels. Like, you got a fucking healer. This dog has been bred genetically for fucking generations to be just that. You're not gonna get the dog to stop it, motherfucker. Like, if you don't want a dog to do that, don't buy a fucking working dog, no matter what dog it is.
Yeah.
Get a fucking pet.
Yeah, Ram. You know, I had to talk to this lady a couple weeks ago about that. It was a lady, one of my wife's co-workers, okay? All right. She wanted to talk to me because she know I like dogs, right? So she wanted to talk to me about, she has a Presso Canario mixed with the fucking Can Corso. So it's a Presso Can Corso mix. This is a big ass dog, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I want to, he's so aggressive, you know, I'm trying to get him to calm down and be more laid back, you know. I like that he's a big dog. It's just he's so aggressive. He won't let anybody, when people come to my house, I have to put him in the other room because he's so aggressive and he's doing this and then doing that. And I'm like, wait, listen, lady, listen. You have a Presso Canario, right, mixed with a Can Corso. These dogs are extremely aggressive dogs, okay? These are guard dogs, okay?
They're professional man biters.
Right, that's what they're here to do. So for you to say that the dog is, I said, you know what? She said, no, but I like him being big dog. I like a big cozy dog. I said, yeah, you know, listen, you don't want the dog to function the way it's supposed to. The dog is doing what it's supposed to do, okay? The fucking dog is protecting its space, all right? That's all it's doing. You probably should have got you a fucking bull mastiff or something. And this is why it's good, because see, she want a big lazy dog. She like the dog being big, but she don't want the dog being active and aggressive. I said, you should have got you a fucking mastiff or some shit, like a English mastiff, bull mastiff.
Neapolitan massive, like,
right.
You know, and some of them do good guard work, but they usually more chill, kick back, you know?
Right. But these people think that love conquers all. They think all I have to do is love the dog, and I'm a good person. I'm a good owner. No. Okay?
Love don't conquer genetics, bitch. Love don't even pay the rent. Fuck out of here.
It's bullshit. You have to know what the fuck, you have to, just like how we tell brothers and sisters getting into the American Pitbull Terrier, do your research, study. All you tree huggers and people that's in other things, other dog breeds, y'all have to do the same thing. You have to research what you want from a dog, what the dog characteristics are of this breed, what health problems you gotta look out for. It's not just, if you just want any dog, then go get a fucking Chihuahua or something. Even with that, you gotta go look and find out what this dog is capable of.
Yeah, Chihuahua is the Mexican Terrier dog. Like, that's why they always barking motherfuckers out. Like, them is working dogs. Like, most dogs we try to fucking make pets. They come down from working stock, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, I seen fucking poodles. Them big ass poodles. what they call them, giant poodles? What they call them, dogs?
Yeah, the giant poodle. I done caught some of them on the sleeve. There's one right now that'll bite your ass down.
That's
He
why
look like Rick James with the Jerry curl. He'll fuck you up right now. That motherfucker look like she's a very kinky girl. Cause he all curled up and shit. He got that
Hey.
California curl, the Hawaiian silk curl. That motherfucker will bite the fuck out you, bro. Chase your ass all down the street, everything. He'll hold you out. I don't even fuck with him. That motherfucker bite hard.
That's what I was gonna say, man. That's what I was gonna say, bro. I seen a fucking poodle, man, in my old neighborhood. This motherfucker was about all the bullshit, man. This fucking poodle used to be about some dumb shit. Always running up, talking shit, you know what I'm saying? Like he wanted all the smoke and shit all the time. I'm like, this is a fucking poodle. They got this thing, you know how they cut the dog's hair to look all fancy and shit with the little weird ass tree hugger shit, you know?
Yeah, old press and curl.
Right, they do all that weird shit. It was like some of the body was shaved and it had like a fluffy tail and shit. But it was acting like a killer. So I was confused. I'm like, yo, you can't be dressing up in skinny jeans and pink clothes talking shit to me, man. Get the fuck out of my face, dog. You know, I had to go get cocoa. I went and got hot cocoa on this bitch ass. Well, that's a story I can't tell on here. That's all good.
Yeah. I mean, they could use it as an opportunity. Okay, you got this dog, now research it. I mean, they should do it before, but research it, and at least you can appreciate the dog. You know, the even poodles, you know, they may look like sissies, but they were bred for something, and they were tough and durable in their day too. You know, especially the bigger one. And whether they were protection dogs or herding, I don't know. I don't remember. But
Yeah, they would go and hunt. They would be kind of like a catch dog for like the beagles and shit, because they was bigger than the beagle. So you know, a beagle could bay them, and then they send the poodle in there on them to catch them.
Yeah, and that's probably that terrier blood in them, you know, where they could catch them. So
exactly,
if the people would at least research what the dog is, they would understand why does that healer, why is he nipping at the kids? Well, he needs something to nip at. Let him loose, even if he's just running around somewhere chasing rabbits or whatever.
Go fucking play fetch with him. You got a fucking healer. He want to chase shit that's on the ground. Exactly. Get your ass out there in the dog park and fucking play fetch. Like, we got bulldog. I wish I could take my dogs to the dog park and just let them fully open up and shit. Like, if you could do that when you got the type of dog that's cool like that, man, go do that shit. That shit is fun. I got to take my dog to the field, you know. Let him chase rabbits and shit, because you know he don't like nobody else. He like his owner.
Yeah. You could use that as an opportunity. Get out there, get some exercise, or have a companion for your kids to play with. Dogs naturally protect. You know, we always had dogs, so we could run around anywhere. My parents never worried because the dogs were there. They would protect us, and they have and did. And even my wife, my kids, grandkids, all that. That's what they're for. You know, so. You know, my dad's attitude was, because he was poor, they didn't have pets. So if they had a dog, the dog had to do something, had to earn its keep. It was there for a reason, whether we had cow dogs or German shepherds to protect our home or mutts or whatever it was. The dog had to do something. It wasn't like, you know, this is my kid or this is like, none of that shit. And if the dog earned his keep, he was kept. If not, we got rid of him. Even back then, I understood culling, because you know, that's the way I grew up. But it's an opportunity for people to get out there and do something with their dog. It's a health benefit. It's a could be a family thing, you know, but they don't do that no more. Now people don't want kids, they want dogs, and they want to treat them like they're kids. And that's just twisted in my view, you know.
Right. It's weird as fuck, because, you know, talking this shit, playing with these dogs and not letting these dogs know their place in their pack, you know what I mean? Letting dogs lay in your bed and shit, and fucking you know, all that weirdo shit. Next thing you know, dog trying to tell you, he think he the alpha of your pack, trying to take control and tell you what to do and growling at you and shit. Fuck that.
Well, what's gonna happen is your wife's gonna tell you, well, honey, the dog don't like you no more, so we're gonna get divorced, you know.
Yeah.
I cut both of them. I cut both of them loose. Good riddance. Bye.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah. Fuck with it or fuck off. That's my motto. You gonna fuck with it or you gonna fuck off. Either or. You ain't arguing no prices. I ain't arguing with nan bitch nigga. Fuck that. Fuck with it or fuck off. That's the word of the day. If y'all don't take nothing from this chat, take that with you. Your life will go way smoother when you adopt that shit. Trust me. Because the people who fuck off, you don't gotta fuck with them. The people who fuck with it because they fuck with you.
All right. What's up, William Old School? I see you here, man. Yeah.
What up, Lace with Game? I see you just slid back through. What's happening? Yeah, area player.
Yes, indeed. All right,
Yeah,
hey, Ram, go ahead and give us a disclaimer, Ram.
Hey man, every week I tell y'all none of this shit is intended or should be for any illegal purposes or activities, and sometimes you motherfuckers don't listen, but that's on y'all. You feel me? That's what you get is what you get. You feel me? Don't be on the phone talking all that slick shit, because if you're about it, you don't gotta fucking promote it. It's the weekend, so y'all be careful, man. You know it's the summertime, so be double careful. Take that stick with you, but don't be stupid with it. Just, shit get out of hand. Use it to get on home. Don't get caught slipping in them cars. Please stop talking shit on live. I just seen a live bitch get drugged talking shit about another chick dead baby daddy, how she was fucking on him.
Oh,
Bitch popped right up on her and put hands across America on that bitch. She had to pull off. That shit was funny. Don't be her. You feel me? Stay solid, man. Salute your local dog, man. Super sock the shit out your local tree hugger.
All right.
Peace and
And
salute,
you
everybody.
want your dogs registered, hit up Schoolboy. I'm telling you. Best registry out right now. You feel me? And you help support a real life legend. Even though, he don't need the bread like that. He's doing it out of love. He don't got to fuck with the shit at all. But the shit is so secretive too. So that's the way you want to go. You don't want everybody in your business. Get your dog registered with him, man. It's legit. Better than the ADBA 50 generation pedigree I spent all that bread on. You feel me? That shit starting to fade and wither. Schoolboy shit come on fucking postcard stock. That shit ain't going nowhere but in a frame. You feel me? Other than that, man, y'all be good. Stay safe. And if you're dangerous, keep it that way.
Yes,
Appreciate it. Peace, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Peace. Hey, Schoolboy, wait 1 second before you leave off, okay? I'm about to
Yeah.
salute everybody. We'll see y'all next week.